Today we'll be focusing on opening the hips through a continuous flow. So we'll begin our practice at the front of our mats, just standing with the hands to prayer at the center of the chest, taking some time to breathe deep, and we'll move straight away, inhaling to stretch up tall, arching back if that feels good, and exhale to fold forward, pivot from the hips. Bend the knees if you need to here, breathing in, lengthen up halfway, and exhale, step the left foot to the back of the mat and lower the back knee, low lunge. Finding your way to plank pose from here, big breath in at the top and exhale to lower through 8-point pose. Inhale, just a small cobra to start with, exhaling your way back into downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here just to open through the backs of the legs and the shoulders. And then inhale, left foot steps forward and lower the back knee. Exhale into Uttanasana, your forward fold. Rolling up through the spine, arching back, extend the arms at the top. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, arms to rise up and lengthen. Exhale, folding forward, pivot from the hips. Inhale, step the right toes to the back of your mat and lower the knee. Exhale, plank to 8-point pose, so knees, chest and chin. Breathing in, slide through, shoulders back, cobra pose. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. So breath or two here. Breathing in, right foot steps through. Exhale, back foot steps in to meet it. Inhale to rise up, reach the arms up, arch back. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Interlace the hands behind your back this time, stretching through the shoulders as you pull the hands away from the bum. Keep the arms like this, chair pose. Bend the knees, sink the hips. Puff the chest forward, shoulders back. And then release the hands to the floor, Uttanasana, forward fold. Stepping the left foot to the back of your mat and lower the knee, lift the chest. Find your way to downward dog. Breathing in, round through the spine forward into plank pose. Exhale, lower knees, chest and chin. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, push back to downward dog. Inhale, forward into plank pose. This time, chaturanga. Exhale, lower through like a half press up. Breathe in, dive the chest forward, upward facing dog. Keep the tummy really strong into your back bend. And then let it take you back on an exhale to downward facing dog. Big inhale, stepping the right foot forward between the hands, and exhale, left foot steps in to meet it. Inhale, roll up, hook the thumbs, arch back at the top. Exhale, hands come to prayer at the center of the chest. We'll continue to build here. Inhale, reach up, arch back. Exhale, dive forward, interlace the hands behind the back. From here, chair pose. Inhale, bend the knees, puff the chest up, keep the hands bound if you can. Exhale, forward, release the hands to the floor. Inhale, step the right foot to the back of your mat, lift the chest. Exhale, left foot steps back, downward facing dog. Inhale, round forward, plank pose. Exhale, knees, chest and chin come down. Inhale, chest comes through, Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Exhale, back, downward dog. Just 1 or 2 breaths here, and then we move through our chaturanga flow. So you breathe into plank pose, exhale, half press up, drop the knees if you need. Inhale, push up and bring the chest through to upward facing dog. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. Inhaling, left foot steps forward. Exhale, right foot steps in, forward fold. Inhale, roll up, hook the thumbs, reach back at the top. Exhale, hands come to prayer at the center of the chest. Preparing for a little balance to step our way into warrior one. So start to take your weight over into the right foot, bend deep into your standing leg as you kick the left foot back. Very brief warrior three, a little T shape through the body as you extend out through the left foot. And then as lightly as you can, step the left foot down, turn the heel down. So left foot's diagonal with the back of your mat. And then start to extend the arms up overhead. You can keep the palms parted, otherwise Kali Mudra. So interlace all the fingers except for your index finger and thumb. And then really squeeze the arms towards each other as you lift the gaze and lean back. Coming into humble warrior, interlace the hands behind you, roll the shoulders back, puff the chest up, and as you exhale, start to dive the chest forward. If you're a little tighter, maybe hovering the chest above the thigh, otherwise you're diving down inside the front leg. Keep drawing the right hip back. So the tendency is for the butt to stick out here so that you can get more depth. But try to keep pulling the right hip back as you lower forward. Inhale, lift the chest, place the hands inside the front foot, and then roll onto the ball of your back foot. So we're back in a kind of lunge position, but it may help you to widen your stance by just towing your right foot over to the right. And then maybe just taking a few rocks backwards and forwards. So you just start to mobilize around the hip joint. And then to rest your legs here, you can lower the back knee down and get it into the outer hip on the front leg. Just start to roll onto the outside edge of your right foot. Keep strongly flexing the toes back towards your shin as you lower the knee outwards. So although the motion is kind of lowering the knee out to the right, you're really pivoting at the hip joint itself. And by flexing the toes constantly, you're protecting your knee from any twinges. So I went down onto my forearms there. It's an option just to deepen if you wanted to follow that, but not a necessity. Pushing down through the palms, inhale, kick the right leg all the way up behind you for three-legged dog, and then bend at the knee, stack the hip. So you just start to, again, get a little hip opener here from the inner hip. And then on an exhale, replace the foot back down. So preparing to do it all again on the left side. When you're ready, just stepping back to the front of your mat in your forward bend. And just one breath here, finding your way then into chair pose. So bend the knees, sweep the arms forward and up. And then exhale, hands come to prayer as you stand up. So just start to take the weight over into the left foot again. When you're steady enough, bend into the left leg as you kick the right leg back. Warrior three, keeping the hands to the center of the chest. Staying strong through the back leg, so flex the toes, point the toes, anything that keeps the leg engaged. Lightly stepping down, turning the back heel down for warrior one. Square the hip bones to the front wall. And then hands parted or Kali Mudra above your head. Squeeze the elbows towards each other, lift the gaze. Interlace the hands behind the back. Inhale, lift the chest, draw the shoulders back. Exhale, slowly start to lower the torso forward for humble warrior. Still grounding really strongly through the outer edge of your back foot. Taking one more full inhale breath here. Slow exhalation. Starting to just lift up slightly so you can place both hands down inside the front foot, rolling onto the toes of your back foot so you're back in that lunge position. Widen the left foot if it helps, so you just step it or heel toe it to the left side of your mat to make a little more space, rocking back and forth. And then lower the back knee down. Start to roll onto the outside edge of your left foot, flexing the toes back towards your shin. Keeping length through the spine if you're going to lower down onto your forearm. So just start to walk the hands forward if you want to explore that arm position. And then slowly start to lower the elbows towards the floor. So if it's your first time trying that position, you may find that the elbows don't quite make it to the floor. So if you have blocks, you can always prop your elbows up on a yoga block or a pillow, or just leave them hovering and pressing the palms into the floor. So a couple more deep breaths, holding the stretch here. Still actively pressing the left leg outwards from the left inner thigh. And then start to walk back up onto your hands if you went down onto elbows. Press down and kick the left heel to the sky behind you. Three-legged downward dog. Bend the knee, turning the hip open as if you're trying to kick your right bum cheek with the left heel. One more inhale breath and then exhale, lower the foot back down. One more full breath here in your downward dog. And then just start to walk the hands now back to the feet. Stepping the feet as wide as your mat. Just a couple of breaths in this slightly wider stance, forward fold. You can take each hand to each opposite elbow and then just drape forward. Allow the head to dangle. So the weight of the arms just adds some oomph to your decompression of the spine as you just hang here and let gravity do the work for you. Okay, so we're going to come into a low squat position, malasana or garland pose. So you might need to widen your feet further still. So they might need to be just wider than your mat, and then turn your heels in and toes out. So your knees start to kind of point to the side walls, and then start to sit your butt down. So you might find that initially your heels are up off the floor, so it'll be a little bit more of a balance. Again, if you wanted to come back out and come back in, you can roll a mat or prop some blocks underneath your heels if that helps to steady you. So always feel free to pause the video and come back in. Elbows can just press out against the knees to deepen the stretch on the inner thighs. And then place the palms, kick the hips back up and parallel the feet once more. Bending at the knees, roll up through the spine, bone by bone. And then just stepping now to face sideways on your mat. Again, similar stance, but we're coming into goddess pose, so it's slightly higher squat. So taking your feet wider than your hips, toes turn out, heels in, and then bend at the knees, sit the bum down towards the floor. Same principle, inner thighs are pushing the knees back. Keeping the hands pressing onto the thighs, dropping the right shoulder over towards the left knee. Keep pressing the right hand into the right thigh. As you do that, breathe in, come back to center. And then exhale, switching sides. So left elbow drops towards the right knee. So a little bit of a twist, getting a nice stretch on the shoulders as you continue to open the inner hips. And then heel toe, your feet in slightly, parallel the feet, inhale, lift up. Exhale, folding forward for our wide-legged forward bend. So you can keep hands to hips here if they comfortably meet the floor without force. You can let the palms come down to the floor. And then pushing the palms to pull the chest in towards the thighs to deepen the stretch further still. And then very similar to yesterday's practice, we can start to walk the hands over to the left foot and just have a little pull on the foot so you start to stretch through the side body. And then walking the hands over to the other foot and just pull, lean the chest away from the foot that you're holding. And from this side, then we're going to turn to face the back of your mat. So we're back in a little lunge position. Back knee comes down to the floor, tuck the tailbone forward, lifting the chest, staying on fingertips, or if you feel more spacious, lifting the fingertips up ever so slightly. Just find that little stretch through the front of the hip flexor in the back leg, and then we'll turn to face the front of your mat. So swiveling on the feet. So now your left foot is forward, lower the back knee. Draw the chest forward and then step your way back to downward facing dog. Lowering the knees just to find your way over onto your bum. So last stretches for the outside of the hips. We're going to cross the right foot over the left leg. And just take a moment here to see how that feels for you. So again, keep the foot flexed, maybe tilt the chest forward to feel the stretch around the outside of the right hip, so around the kind of butt cheek zone. And if you're a little bit more spacious here, as long as you can keep the spine nice and tall, maybe start to just hug the right shin in towards your chest. So keep actively drawing upwards through the spine. And then release, switching sides, so crossing the left foot on top of the right thigh, flexing through the foot, just gently tilt the chest forward to start to find your hip stretch. If it feels good, you can start to lift the shin in towards your body, otherwise stay as you are. Just a couple of breaths with this final stretch for the outer hip. And then release the foot, finding your way down onto your back, preparing for happy baby. So kicking the soles of the feet to face the ceiling. Your knees are wider than your torso. Facing the bottoms of the feet upwards. Seeing if you can comfortably reach for the outside edges of the feet. If that really pulls the bum off of the floor a lot. Or if it's just not comfortable or out of reach, hold the front of your shins or the back of your thighs instead. And then continuously drawing the knees downwards towards the floor. Releasing, coming into your Shavasana for today. So you can have the legs in a nice little butterfly position to keep the opening of the inner thighs, soles of the feet together, knees wide, or just relax completely. Softening the breath, staying here for as long as you have time for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.